Championship presented by Capital One. You are watching the Elite Eight presented by AT&T. In Spokane, Washington, somebody is headed to Tampa for the Final Four. Will it be the top-seeded Trojans or the 2-seed Connecticut Huskies? Taking a look at our championship bracket. Congratulations to Texas joining South Carolina. They'll play Friday, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Who will take on UCLA following that on Friday night? As we welcome you courtside. Hey everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. So happy to be with you for this Elite Eight matchup. Rebecca, throughout her collegiate career, we have seen some special performances from Paige Bueckers, but none like the other night.
Paige Bueckers had the best basketball game of her career in that Sweet 16 matchup. She was simply unguardable on the offensive end of the floor. Her 40 points, she could get anywhere she wanted on the court. She had 6 made threes on the day. The defenses came and she didn't care, was able to score over, through, around, whatever was sent at her. Spectacular fourth quarter, where at one point she scored 19 straight. And you know, she got it done on the defensive end as well.
Her last 2 games have been sensational. A UConn tournament record with 40 in the Sweet 16. Meanwhile, we know for USC, they are without their star sophomore Juju Watkins, but they got a big performance from a couple of freshmen in the Sweet 16.
Their freshmen stepped up in a big way. Avery Howell was absolutely terrific from the perimeter. 18 points on the day. She made 4 threes. And how about Kennedy Smith? She got it done defensively and scoring the basketball. 19 points in this one. These 2 young ladies, once again, are going to need to be impactful on both ends of the floor.
Last 2 meetings between these 2 teams have been terrific. We saw it in December in the regular season, a USC win. We saw it in the Elite Eight last year, a UConn victory. Now we send things over for a little more on USC. Here's another Hall of Famer, Holly Rowe.
For USC to punch their ticket to the Final Four, they are going to have a bigger performance for their post player, Kiki Iriafen. She has proven that she can be difficult to defend in March. In that first game where Juju Watkins was tragically injured, Kiki stepped up with a school record 36 points. But in her last game, Kansas State paid her so much defensive attention, just 7 points. Lindsey Gottlieb said, you know what? She drew so much attention, that helped our guards and our freshmen hit shots. But we have got to establish Kiki early. We'll see how UConn can handle her and her presence in the post tonight.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. Time to take a look at tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Capital One. For Connecticut, Paige Bueckers, joined by Caitlin Chen, the sharpshooter Azzi Fudd, the likely freshman of the year Sarah Strong, and then Jana El Alfi. For USC, Talia von Oelhoffen, Avery Howell, Kennedy Smith, Kiki Iriafen, and then the shot blocking specialist Rhea Marshall on the interior. Lindsey Gottlieb in her 4th season at USC. What a turnaround it has been for this program over the last few years. Their 3rd 30-win season in program history. They have reached the national title game 2 times previously, seeking their first Final Four since 1986. Meanwhile, Gino Auriemma, the winningest coach in the history of Division I basketball, the 11 national championships, a record trying to take Connecticut to a record 24th Final Four. A sold-out crowd that has been anticipating this matchup since the brackets came out. USC played with great resilience, great poise the other night. Lindsey Gottlieb was so proud of the way they stayed even-keeled emotionally, even without Juju Watkins, and we are underway in the Elite Eight in Spokane.
Of course, the matchup to keep an eye on right here, Kennedy Smith guarding Paige Bueckers.
Kennedy, a terrific defender, saw the way she performed on that end against Kansas State. Here's Fudd looking for help, flings it out to Chen. Caitlin Chen into the paint, can't hook it in. El Alfi couldn't grab the rebound. Marshall does for USC. Smith dumping it down. Iriafen gets an early touch, one-on-one, can't finish it. And now Alfie the rebound.
Iriafan does a terrific job of rim running. Got down. She likes to go over that right shoulder. UConn worked on that a lot today in their shoot-around, defending it.
Look at Kennedy Smith just blow up the handoff. Here's Smith all the way in, and that's an early personal on Paige Bueckers as Kennedy Smith will shoot two.
USC loves to defend and get out in transition. Just a great job blowing up the handoff. We saw that at times in the Sweet 16 game as well. Smith's ability to get a steal and push the other way.
Now, they charge that foul for the moment to Chen rather than Bueckers. Obviously, very significant. Chen was in the area, so she gets called with the personal rather than Paige, as Smith goes 1 for 2 at the line. Here's Bueckers. Chen trying to take one all off and into the corner. Strong connects. Out of 3. No hesitation from the freshman.
Great sign for UConn, for Sarah Strong to get going early. She did not shoot with her normal efficiency in their last game.
And early in that game in the Sweet 16, Rebecca, you and I talked about it. It was maybe the first time this year we'd seen Strong look like a freshman with some of the indecision. Well, certainly no indecision on that attempt. Marshall unable to finish on the interior. Here's Bueckers backing down, kicking out. Alfie thought better of it. Chen in the mid-range, short.
That's where Caitlin Chen is very good and very confident. Hitting that mid-range, it could be from 5 out to 15 feet. She will look to take that shot with confidence.
Hoffen, who's from just about 2 hours away, Tri-Cities, has around 40 family members and friends who are here to watch USC. Here's Marshall. Hit a couple of big mid-range jumpers in the second half the other night. Iriafan finishes on a great delivery from Marshall. So an early bucket for Kiki Iriafan, who had 16, 11, and 6. December 21st at UConn. Bueckers leaning, can't hit. Marshall the rebound, flings it down the floor, and an easy interception there for Chen. Fudd spinning, couldn't finish it, and Marshall snatches that one down, and again, getting it down the floor, this time successfully. Iriafan kicks it out, Marshall putting it on the deck, and laying it in. Tied at 5 in the early going of this Elite 8 matchup. Winner heads to the Final Four in Tampa. Fudd, pull up, no. And Iriafan the rebound.
USC has done an outstanding job of limiting Connecticut to one shot, forcing tough shots and then getting every defensive board.
Von Oelhoffen bounces in. Iriafan. Iriafan fighting through traffic, couldn't finish it. Battling, and Alfie able to control the rebound.
The pace of this game has been incredible so far without hardly any whistles. USC with 2 players at the scorer's table.
Fudd, short, and Kennedy Smith the rebound. Smith launches, knocked away, but controlled by Marshall. Marshall hoops through and finishes.
The USC post players are doing a terrific job of running the floor and getting deep seals inside.
Here's Bueckers trying to get free. Alfie can't hit the mid-range. USC's also done a great job limiting the touches for Bueckers thus far. Here's Smith cupping around and a knocked out of bounds by Strong. Now remember that foul early that looked like it was on Bueckers. They called it on Chen. Now Chen reaches in, but that still looks to me like it should have been on Bueckers. It's Bueckers' hand that's on the face.
It's Bueckers who has most of the contact. The first little tiny touch was from Chen.
Yes, so that's why they called on Chen, but UConn catches a break there. Howe can't hit the 3. Smith battling Bueckers, but it's Paige who comes down with the rebound.
That was a great look for Avery Howell in the corner out of bounds play.
Bueckers dishes poked away by Smith. Here's Howell evading Bueckers. Area Finn. Directing traffic. Guarded by Strong. Kiki fading and hitting.
How about Area Finn? Just telling Howell to get out of there, clearing out the side of the floor for herself.
Strong turns it over. Third already from Connecticut. An 8-0 USC run. And Caitlin Chen telling her team, calm down, calm down. As the freshman Kaylee Heckel checks in for USC. She's provided such a burst of speed and defense off the bench for the Trojans in this tournament. You see Malia Samuels also comes in off the bench for USC with her. Here's Samuels. Area Finn. Pull-up jumper. That one's off. Rebound taken in by Strong. Sarah Strong on the drive. Can't flip it in, and Howell the rebound. And Gina Oriema very upset. Wants this team to run their offense here.
Right now, this is exactly the kind of pace that USC wants to play. The faster, the better.
Akunwafo gives it up. Area Finn knocks it down. Kiki has the stroke in this first, a 10-0 USC run.
This is how Kiki looked in that second round matchup when she scored 36. She was unstoppable from 17 feet, driving to the basket as well.
Connecticut has missed its last 6. Paige Bueckers trying to get a touch in the post. Strong again from deep. What a big shot from Sarah Strong.
This young woman is a freshman, and she looks like she's been here before, even though she's never been in this moment before.
There's the #1 recruit this past year. Strong comes over the steal and is fouled. Timeout on the floor. Good action early. Kiki Iriafen is definitely feeling it here in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, she's just telling her guard, get out of here. I want to go one-on-one. Goes over that right shoulder. The fade. Impossible shot to defend. And then here, just little reverse pivot. One dribble. Step up. That's your set.
Let's check out how they're fueling the run, brought to you by Wendy's. Holly Rowe?
Well, Juju Watkins tore her ACL in their second round game, but not here in Spokane. Her presence is. Her team came in yesterday, all of them wearing shirts with her face. The little Funko Pop, the mini-me, she's on the bench with them every second. And not only that, she's at home having a watch party, Instagramming her support, but she has been on the phone with Coach before the game, her teammates after the game with FaceTime. She has been an ever-present presence, and everyone here in the arena, thoughts and prayers going out to Juju. They feel her presence from a long ways away.
And that's something that Lindsay Gottlieb talked about with us yesterday, Holly, how her presence now will be with this program forever. The other thing she talked about with us today about Kiki is how lucky am I, she said, as a coach, that I can lose a player like Juju and still have one who demands a double or a triple team like Kiki Iriafen. Thus far, Kiki has been very good here in the Elite Eight. As Strong hits again, Sarah Strong looking totally settled in her first Elite Eight.
I would imagine that Kiki might start drawing those double and triple teams after the way she started here.
Bueckers went for the steal, knocked it off of Smith, and it's going to be Connecticut basketball.
Kennedy Smith with the Anderson cut, and Paige Bueckers just fought over both of the elbow area screens. You see her going. She's got long arms and able to tip it off the fingertips of Smith.
Gina Oriema was upset with Paige Bueckers in the second quarter of the Sweet 16. Felt like she was zoning out defensively and knows how impactful she can be on that side of the ball. Here's Strong going back to work. Ashlyn Shade in off the bench for Connecticut. Fudd dives in, the leaner is short. Long rebound picked up by Heckel on the move. Kaylee Heckel swooping in, couldn't finish it, and it's collected by Strong. Connecticut with numbers if they hurry. Shade lost the footing, now needs some help and finds it in Bueckers. Shade spinning into the paint, good dig there from Iriafen to come up with a steal. Fourth turnover for Connecticut. An 11-10 lead for USC in this first quarter. Winner advances to the Final Four. Bueckers, another big steal. Here comes Bueckers with numbers. Strong connects again. Sarah Strong with 10 in the quarter.
Sarah Strong had AZ Fudd open in the right corner. Since the NCAA tournament started, every practice that I've been to, the coaches are saying to Sarah Strong, whenever she touches it, shoot it, do not pass. She's an outstanding passer, but they know this offensively is what she's capable of, Ryan.
And Gino Auriemma told us today that he wants to get Sarah Strong a lot of shots tonight. She has had them in this first. Here's Howell, off to Iriafen, and that's a travel.
Paige Bueckers has been really good the last couple of possessions on the defensive end, getting deflections, getting steals. Here, head up, she finds Sarah Strong right in the middle of the floor. Just stop and drop. Sarah Strong, so incredibly skilled offensively.
Holly?
Well, the thing that's made Gino brilliant all these years is he knows which player to push the buttons, what, when. Today at shoot-around, it was Sarah Strong coming off a little bit of a tentative performance in her last game. He started running a lot of stuff for her in practice, yelling at her, don't pass up shots. And that mindset has carried into this game right now.
Such a great point, Holly, as Bueckers gets on the board. A 9-0 response from Connecticut after the run from USC. 3-point Connecticut lead. Marshall back in for the Trojans. Von Olhoffen was online, a little long, and Ice Brady able to swipe the rebound back to Strong. Here's Bueckers. Bueckers a deep three, way off. Kennedy Smith couldn't hold on to it. Fudd dives for it, but USC has it. Lob inside, Iriafen, what a catch amongst three defenders. Howell gets stripped out of bounds, and it stays with USC. About a 14-second difference game in shot clock. Malia Samuels in for USC. Just have to be impressed with the effort, the fight, the resiliency, the cohesion from USC, playing without the central hub of their team, Juju Watkins. Here's Von Olhoffen. Von Olhoffen lost it. It's loose. Iriafen tied up, and the possession arrow belongs to USC. Possession to the Trojans. Samuels turned around to get some instruction from her head coach, Lindsey Gottlieb. Shot clock is at 5. Samuels has the pass deflected. Here comes Strong with time. Shade on the run into the paint, and an offensive foul is called on Ashlyn Shade.
Ashlyn Shade going strong to the left side, but certainly with a right arm cleared out space. You'll see it right here. Dribble, clears out. You wonder, would you want to there pull it out and take the last shot of the quarter?
Yeah, I totally agree. Unless you have an obvious opportunity in transition, which that was not, better off pulling it out. It's not every day you see the coach of the team that the foul was called on pantomiming the correct call.
Yes.
This is why you got the foul. 2 seconds left. Heckel, no. And that'll do it for the first. We'll hear from Gino Auriemma when we come back.
Paige Bueckers has had such an impact already on the defense.
Well, Sarah Strong, 10 points on 4 of 5 shooting for the freshman in that first quarter.
She has incredible versatility for a 6'2" power forward. Great touch from the perimeter. We've seen her drain a couple of threes already. Steps into them confidently. She can also get to her mid-range as an outstanding passer. Pull up as well. She has 4 rebounds to complement the 10 points. She has just been very unfreshman-like here in this moment.
Let's check out tonight's game track, brought to you by Invesco QQQ. UConn ending that quarter on a 9-0 run as Paige turns it over out of bounds to USC. One of the things that Gino Auriemma talked to us about in regard to Sarah Strong a couple of days ago as he said, you know, she could go on a Carmelo Anthony-like run as a freshman in this tournament. She is that kind of talent, and she also brings that level of poise. USC has turned it over 5 times in the last 4.5 minutes. Here's Van Oelhoffen. Looking inside to Smith, who got great position, couldn't finish. Iriafen trying to grab the rebound. Marshall banks it in. Gino Auriemma felt like there should have been a foul originally, but persistent effort on the boards there from USC.
Ice Brady came over to help Paige Bueckers defensively, and that's why the offensive rebounding position was there for USC.
Here's Bueckers. Bueckers got 3, didn't realize it. Arnold, no. And one of the things Lindsey Gottlieb talked to us about was living with 3-point attempts from KK Arnold. That is not her strong suit. Shot at just 22% from 3 on the season. Smith off. Strong, her 5th rebound. Here's Bueckers. Backing away, Bueckers eyeing up Marshall. Fakes the 3, wanted to dish it, still plenty of time. Strong, spinning, and finishing. Sarah Strong's a ballerina. .601 points this season, just the 2nd UConn freshman to ever top 600 points. The legend Maya Moore is the other. Smith can't hit the jumper. Here's Arnold dashing inside and finishing. That is KK Arnold's game.
We've seen her have an impact. The last possession defensively, she was all over Van Oelhoffen, making things a challenge. She brings incredible energy to this UConn team. Ryan Rucco, Sarah Strong here, everything but the 2-2 goes in. Look at the footwork as she finishes.
And you don't see a lot of emotion from her normally, but that is about as fired up as you'll see Sarah Strong after a made bucket.
During the UConn South Carolina game earlier this year, I had a WNBA coach text me and say, if Sarah Strong was in this draft, she would be a lottery pick. She would be in the top 4.
Here's Fudd. Fudd fakes the 3. Fudd kicks to Strong, another 3. You bet! Sarah Strong sizzling in Spokane. Marshall on the other end gets a much-needed bucket for USC.
And I like it. I like her going right at Sarah Strong. Make Sarah work on both ends of the floor. See if you can fatigue her a little bit.
Arnold dives in, couldn't finish. Rebound off of shade, out of bounds. Nice job defensively there from Kaylee Heckel.
Incredible thing about Sarah Strong and the way she's shooting is these have been contested shots. Rhea Marshall, a terrific shot blocker right there. Hand is high in her face.
Strong is 6 of 7 from the floor, has 15 points. The likely freshman of the year in the nation, Marshall dives in and gets fouled by Bueckers. Well, we've seen Rhea Marshall these last 2 games do what she's needed to offensively at some critical moments for her team.
She's a really talented player and an experienced player, and she has more block shots in this NCAA tournament than anyone else. She has 14. We've seen her hit mid-range jumpers here, going up strong.
And Marshall sinks the first free throw. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, Rhea Marshall has stepped up as a leader and as a producer here for her team this year. She's actually sacrificed heavily. She decided to give up fried food for 30 days. That meant no Wingstop, no Popeyes. She said everyone on the team was giving up something for me. That's my, my Achilles. I love the fried food, but she is lean, she is mobile, and you have seen her produce.
Bueckers on the other end, finishes plus the foul. And then the flex from Paige Bueckers, who has a chance for 3.
Defensively, USC has done a really good job of being physical with Paige Bueckers, and here Heckel is right there. Paige absorbs a little bit of contact and finishes. You think that's a foul?
Not a lot there. Bueckers absorbed. And just to put a bow on Holly's story, it was Rhea in her meeting with us with a big grin naming the different places she had to give up
Yes.
her desired food from. Bueckers completes the three-point play. Seven-point Connecticut lead. Marshall and Iriafen, 7 of 11 from the floor. The rest of USC 0 for 8.
This is the first time UConn has gone with their smaller lineup, and you have Paige Bueckers playing the 4, that time defending Rhea Marshall.
One in ESPN NBA Wednesday doubleheader we have for you. Cavs host the Knicks, 7 Eastern. Then the Thunder host the Pistons. Our coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 6:30 Eastern.
So what do we have now? Kiki Iriafen is defending AZ Fudd. Iriafen is a terrific perimeter defender for a big.
Here's Fudd. Stopping, diving, got blocked by Smith. What a defender. Kennedy Smith is the freshman. He's one of the top-rated recruits in the country heading into this year. And a big bucket there from Kaylee Heckel. Lindsey Gottlieb told us, hey, in a big spot, we are not going to be afraid to run an ISO to Kaylee Heckel. Here's Bueckers. Nice look, strong, gets denied by Smith. Here's Heckel. Looking to dump it inside. Marshall has it stripped. Bueckers comes up with it. Good hands from Strong. Chen to the rim.
Rhea Marshall telling the official, I got hit on the arm, but continue to look. Now it's going to be Paige Bueckers on Kiki Iriafen, picking on that 4 matchup.
Connecticut a +6 in points off turnovers. Smith can't hit that 3. USC 0 for 4 from downtown in this game. Strong finds Bueckers. Bueckers surrounded. And Howell able to come up with a steal as USC will take a timeout. 4:54 to go in the second. Connecticut leads by 7.
Connecticut trying to turn defense into offense. A beautiful bounce pass from Paige Bueckers leads Caitlin Shen right to the rim. A big needle, she still threads it. UConn up by 7.
No. Elle, I'm still giving you credit for that one, all right? Here's that spin move that Elle, Dre, and Chene are talking about. Just absolutely beautiful footwork from the freshman. And you know what? You're going to get to join all of us in Tampa. Elle, Dre, Chene, whole crew will be there. Don't miss the NCAA Women's Final Four this weekend on ABC and ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. You're home for all 90 NCAA championships. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi will be there as well. Bird Taurasi show is back.
Interesting lineup here now for USC. They have also gone small coming into this game. That's one of the things Lindsey Gottlieb said was a question mark. When UConn goes small, do we counter with small?
Now they have. Iriafen gets tied up, and it's going to be a held ball. Possession arrow stays with USC.
Sarah Strong's had really good and timely hands on the defensive end as well. You know, just poking at balls, getting steals, little deflections.
And has been navigating that without picking up a foul yet. 2.5 on the shot clock here for USC. Smith will inbound. And
timeout on the floor.
we're going to have a timeout on the floor.
They're checking the shot clock?
No, I think we actually have a media timeout because the last timeout was called by USC, so we didn't have our under 5. So now we get another one here. It's a little, inside show business for you. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Spokane, where UConn leads USC by 7. Paige Bueckers coming off a game where she had 40 points. She got most of those in the pick and roll when Oklahoma was in drop coverage. Look at all the space she had. USC, they're not playing drop coverage here. The pick and roll comes, they're going to switch. You'll also see them as UConn goes ahead, running hard, hedges, anything. Lindsey Gottlieb said, we are not going to play any drop coverage and let that young woman go for 40.
And now for tonight's Star Stories, brought to you by Samsung Galaxy. Sarah Strong, 15 points, 6 rebounds for the freshman in this first half. Paige Bueckers, 5 points and 3 assists. For a little more on Sarah Strong, let's send things over to Holly Rowe.
Well, if you think Sarah Strong looks composed and organized as a freshman out there, it's because she has had some unbelievable help from her parents. Both of her parents played Division I college basketball. On the right, you see her mother, Allison Feaster, who was part of a historic upset herself, playing for Harvard, a 16 versus a 1 in the NCAA tournament. And then her dad, Danny Strong, was a terrific standout performer for NC State. I asked Sarah, growing up, were your parents hard on you? Was it too much basketball? She said they were the perfect blend of discipline and constructive criticism and love. They would frequently watch film together after high school games. She said, I can ask them anything about the game and they are always there for me.
Pretty good resource.
Yeah, I'd say.
2.5 on the shot clock here. Gets thrown off the backboard and Strong ends up collecting it. Here's Bueckers. Bueckers going one-on-one with Von Olhoffen and gets fouled. Paige Bueckers asserts herself to the line. A record-setting night in the Sweet 16 for Paige Bueckers. Her 40 points, a UConn NCAA tournament record. First player in program history with at least 30 in back-to-back tournament games as well. And afterwards just tried to continually deflect towards her teammates. But all of her teammates have talked about seeing Paige now more aggressive and what it means to this team when she gets in that kind of a zone. Started to really see it in the Big East tournament, and now we have seen it 2 straight games entering this one in the NCAA tournament.
Petronian said, it's the best game she has played in her career, but he said he sees that frequently in practices.
Here's Iria Finn, off to Von Olhoffen. Smith to the corner, Samuels, 8 to shoot. USC without a made 3 in this half. Iria Finn double, shot clock fading, Samuels leaning, can't bank it in. Iria Finn the rebound and taken away by Shade. Here comes Bueckers. Bueckers cutting through, can't finish, but again gets the whistle. And Paige Bueckers is going back to the line.
Usually when Paige Bueckers is leading a break, her head is on a swivel and she's seeing the floor, seeing where her teammates are. That one, it looked like she was seeing the bucket and deciding how she was going to get there. And that was the feel I got from her, especially in the fourth quarter of that game against Oklahoma too, knowing that she could take over.
At 29 second half points in that game. That's the second foul on Von Olhoffen as Bueckers misses the free throw.
Look at Paige. Her eyes are on the bucket. Typically they're just swiveling. Which teammate can I get involved?
Now that missed free throw is significant because she needed to make 5 straight in order to get back to 90% from the line. She dipped under 90% after last game, so no longer 50, 40, 90.
She was 30, has 2 misses here today. What's she doing? It's going to be so hard to get back to that 90%.
Going 50, 40, 90 and leading the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio, something that has never been done in men's or women's Division I college basketball. Has not been done in the WNBA either. She also dropped to 2nd in assist-to-turnover ratio. The nugget was nice while it lasted.
It was.
Here's Smith. Spinning inside. Kennedy Smith with the no-look reverse gets fouled. Just trying to make something happen for USC. Kennedy Smith, talented freshman, was the number 6 recruit in the country this past year. Holly?
Well, Beth Burns, who's the assistant coach, that's the defensive coordinator for this USC team, a veteran of 40 years of coaching, says that Kennedy Smith is the best and smartest defensive player she has ever coached. Her instincts, her physicality, her ability to read and react, and her foot speed. We have seen that. She has made it tough for Paige tonight. We saw it in the last round, and she is going to be a next-level player and pro given that IQ.
I mean, you see her right now. She's just doing a good job using physicality. When she's switched onto post, she's done the same thing.
Here's Chen firing away. No. Rebound Iriafen. By the way, that foul that was called on the Smith attempt was number 2 on Ashlyn Shade. A key reserve for Connecticut goes to the bench. Marshall, center of the lane. Flips it in. The lead for Connecticut down to 5.
So Lindsay Gottlieb has gone back to her bigger lineup, picking on the 4-player defensively, which right now is Paige Bueckers.
How about Rhea Marshall with 12 points in this half? She averages just 7 a game this season. Bueckers, that time fouled by Smith. That'll be the 14th foul on USC.
Rhea Marshall, 6'4" and long, and what a terrific pass by Kiki Iriafen, and just the patience by Marshall to finish. The double team came, but there was nothing defense could do about it.
Rest of the team 4 for 17 from the floor. Marshall is 5 for 6. Here's Arnold getting it into Bueckers. Her leaner, no good. And an opportunity for USC to cut a little closer. Down the floor to Iriafen. Iriafen barging inside, couldn't pop it in, and Strong ends up with a rebound.
Strong's been UConn's best post defender today as well.
Here's Fudd. A quiet first half thus far for AZ Fudd. Strong. Not that time. A rare miss for Sarah Strong, who was 3 for 3 from deep. Hasn't scored in a while now. Smith. Back iron it off. Strong, another rebound. That is her 8th of the half. Chen zipping up the floor. Chen all the way in for 2.
She's unafraid, and she is a very good finisher when she gets anywhere in the paint area.
Her being unafraid was something Gino Auriemma emphasized to us this morning at shoot-around. Hackle, what a spin. Couldn't quite finish it. Rebound number 9 for Strong. Here comes Chen. Chen off one leg, banks it in, plus the foul. How about Caitlin Chen, the Princeton transfer?
Caitlin Chen, this is where she thrives, Ryan Ruka. Whether she takes it all the way to the rim or she does the little pull-up, made a living in this area when she was at Princeton.
Holly?
Well, there's a reason she's starting at UConn after her career at Princeton. She got to the NCAA tournament every single year at Princeton. She was the Ivy League Player of the Year last year, and when she came in, Gino Auriemma said, I trust her. She's strong to the hoop, she makes quick decisions, and she's physical. Everything we've seen from her tonight.
And timely buckets there, too, just when USC was making a run hot. Here's Marshall. Lead is 10 for Connecticut. Chen with 9 points in the half. Largest lead of the game for the Huskies.
Lazy Fudd now on Rhea Marshall.
Here's Iriafen, pull-up jumper, in and out, rebound Bueckers. Here's Fudd with some haste. 2 for 1 opportunity for Connecticut. That's not usually a focus, though, in the collegiate game. Bueckers a 3. You bet! 10 for Paige Bueckers, largest lead for Connecticut. What a tough bucket. Kennedy Smith storming inside.
Coach Auriemma imploring his team. 1 shot.
First field goal of the game for Smith, who has been working on the defensive end. Bueckers letting the clock wind here. Strong turns, dishes, Bueckers again! What a finish to the first half for Paige Bueckers in UConn.
Paige Bueckers certainly has come alive here in the last 30 seconds of this half. Draining threes, starting to feel it.
Bueckers finishes what Sarah Strong started, Holly.
Well, Coach Auriemma told us that he wanted you to be more aggressive tonight. How did you take that mindset right off the bat?
I mean, I wasn't last game, so just after watching film and seeing what they do, just got to be aggressive, just read it.
I know you're older than a freshman by this point in the season. This is a big game with a lot of pressure. You have seemed unaffected. How have you been so confident?
I mean, I'm confident in my teammates and our abilities. We practice, we work hard, so we deserve to be here.
How do you close this out in the second half?
Just keep playing hard.
Thanks, Sarah.
All right, well, Sarah Strong, 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Bueckers up to 13. After back-to-back threes, Connecticut a 14-point lead at the half. Let's get into the Shea Moisture halftime report. Elle Duncan, Andrea Carter, and Chiney Agumake. The NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. You are watching the Elite Eight presented by AT&T. Getting ready to start the second half in Spokane. Connecticut a 39-25 lead on USC. Ooh, there's a Trojan loose in the hallway, and Connecticut nearly ran it over as we welcome you back courtside. Ryan Ruocco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. You know, for Connecticut, so often we focus on their offense, but their defense really shined in that first half. Now it's time for Get More, brought to you by Geico.
Really impactful on the defensive end in that first half. 8 steals, and it was able to fuel their fast break going the other way. UConn in that first half, 12 fast break points. They were able to get numbers, get out in transition. They move and share the basketball so well. Paige Bueckers getting an and one on that opportunity. And this is the one I love so much because you see Sarah Strong gets the ball. AZ Fudd, one of the best three-point shooters in the country, wide open, but Sarah Strong has been told, do not pass the ball. Look for your own offense. She did it there. She did it all first half.
Taking a look at our first half stats, brought to you by Dixie Ultra Plates. Sarah Strong, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 3 of 4 from 3. Paige Bueckers with 11 of her 13 in the second, including back-to-back threes to end the half. And this is the largest deficit of the half that USC has faced in the last 2 seasons. Of course, USC navigating tonight without their transcendent star, Juju Watkins, who went down in the second round with a knee injury. 35-25 as we begin the third quarter. Winner of this game moves on to Tampa to face UCLA. The other Final Four teams, South Carolina and Texas. Little shot clock issue there. And now there's a game clock issue. Well, no, they keep switching the shot clock. And now they're good. Fudd was scoreless in the first half. Kennedy Smith on Bueckers. She did such a nice job in her minutes on Paige Bueckers in that first half. Here's Chen. Strong, guarded by Iriafen. Picked up the dribble, 3 to shoot. Bueckers trying to make something happen, cannot. Al-Alfi the rebound in a crowd, gets blocked out of bounds, will stay here with Connecticut. Holly?
Well, we talked about the defense of Kennedy Smith and just how special and elite she is. Take a look at what she's doing to Paige Bueckers. When she is defending Paige Bueckers, Paige has just 2 points on 17 possessions. Everybody else who's defended Paige, 24 possessions, 11 points allowed. She is smothering, just absolutely enjoying watching this freshman.
She's 6'1", can move her feet, has used her physicality beautifully here against Paige Bueckers.
Strong will take and hit from 3. 18 points for Sarah Strong, who's now 4 of 5 from deep. Lindsay Gottlieb actually was talking to us about an internal grading system they have defensively for their players. And in that first meeting against Connecticut, Kennedy Smith graded out that she did not allow a single point in the 22 minutes she was on the floor. Van Olhoffen can't finish. Chen off to Fudd, who stepped out of bounds, and Connecticut turns it over.
Out of bounds for the Trojans.
Sarah Strong already a double-double. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 12 this season, most by a UConn freshman in the last 25 seasons.
She's gobbled up every rebound that's been here in her area tonight.
And Marshall unable to connect with Kennedy Smith there as USC turns it over for an 11th time. They average 15 turnovers per game. 13th in the nation in assists, but they have just 3 tonight. Fudd has not found much space beyond the arc in this game. Chen Back to Strong, had it deflected, but she was fouled. Stays here with Connecticut. There is one spot remaining in the Final Four. UCLA will play the winner of this game, and we will get round number 4 of South Carolina and Texas. Those two played a couple of entertaining regular season games, then South Carolina handily handled Texas in the SEC championship game.
Kennedy Smith picks up a foul there. She had switched on to Jana El Alfi, and I talked about it in the first half. She's really good in switches and can use her strength, but that time a little too much of it.
Second foul on Smith. Here's Fudd. Fudd goes baseline, stops, can't finish. Good contest there from Howell. Avery Howell, who was so good in the Sweet 16, yet to score here in the Elite 8. Marshall tried to get it to the corner, could not. Now does. Smith with space will take, and hit from 3, and Strong another rebound. USC 0 for 6 now from 3. Chen gets denied. What a block from Von Oelhoffen.
But it's good for Caitlin Chen for Connecticut to stay aggressive, and here she's attacking the rim. Really nice fingertip block. But Jordan told us at the beginning of the tournament, 3 players that were going to be very key to his team in terms of how far they could go. Ashlyn Shade, KK Arnold, Caitlin Chen, because those are the players that the defense can help off of onto Sarah Strong or Paige Bueckers.
Bueckers the crossover and gets fouled from behind. Paige Bueckers did a nice job getting herself to the line in this game. And that's going to be number 3 on Kennedy Smith, as Bueckers will shoot 2.
Talked to Lindsay Gottlieb today, and she says she's not a coach who just pulls a player out if they get 2 fouls in the first half. And here, Smith with her 3rd one early here in the 3rd quarter. Expect her to give her some opportunities, stay on the floor, trust her.
Well, she joked with us about how in Juju Watkins' 51-point game last year, she picked up 2 fouls in the first 4 minutes. And she said, hey, if I was going by how this is traditionally handled, you're never getting to 51.
Yeah, she said, I am not conservative when it comes to that.
Talked about how the analytics favor leaving your player in, as Fudd fouls Von Oelhoffen. And Von Oelhoffen will shoot 2. And Lindsay Gottlieb, of course, also spent time on the Cleveland Cavaliers staff in the NBA.
It's interesting talking with her about philosophy and different things, late game situations, and saying, well, if I was in the NBA, I would do this, but here in women's college basketball, I do things, you know, can do things a little bit differently.
She's just so thoughtful about everything. And Lindsay Gottlieb has ties to Gino Auriemma, used to work his camps back in the day.
One left.
Former high school basketball star at Scarsdale High School in Westchester County in New York.
See USC extending their pressure after those free throws. 1-2-2.
Oh, Bueckers the spin, couldn't quite finish it. Area Finn the rebound. USC make a push here, down 17. Smith has it taken away, but a foul, and Fudd is going to pick up her 2nd.
It is remarkable that UConn right now has this 17-point lead, shooting so well from 3, and AZ Fudd is yet to score.
Fudd 0 for 6 from the floor. And Ashlyn Shade will check in for Fudd. Now Fudd, the first 2 games of this tournament, shot lights out, was 53% from the floor, 10 of 19 from 3. Other night against Oklahoma was 4 for 13, 1 of 5 from 3. Has the 0 for so far. Von Oelhoffen at 3 is good, a much needed one for the Trojans.
Tough shot. Caitlin Chen went behind the on-ball screen, and Talia Von Oelhoffen just stepped in with so much confidence there.
First 3 of the night for USC. Von Oelhoffen, who shot it just 28.5% on the season. It's a big one. Popped out of bounds by Smith.
See Caitlin Chen, she goes under the Rhea Marshall screen. Von Oelhoffen just pulls the ball right back into her shooter's pocket and launches it.
The Oregon State transfer, who played in the Elite Eight a season ago. Strong, not that time. Shade soars in, knocks it out of bounds. A coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Final Four continues on CBS. For more information, go to ncaa.com. How about all 4-1 seeds making it?
I know, it doesn't happen very often on the men's side.
Iriafin bodies in, couldn't finish it. And Strong the rebound. After a hot start from Iriafin, she has not gotten the same kind of looks as the game has gone along. Hit 3 early jumpers, doesn't have a field goal since. Bueckers will fire. And hit from 3. Paige Bueckers has been dialed in from deep. 18 for Bueckers. She's 3 of 4 from downtown as Von Olhoffen able to finish through the contact.
Paige Bueckers has a 6'4" shot blocker, switching out onto her, closing out pretty quickly, steps in, doesn't matter. Talia Von Olhoffen has been very good these last few possessions, draining a 3 and then driving strong to the left side. UConn back now with their smaller lineup. Very briefly, and now they're big again.
Good thing you named it quickly.
Yeah.
Shade out. Meanwhile, Bueckers 12 for 17 from 3 over the last few games. There's Chen. Off to Bueckers. Bueckers trying to take Hal. Paige Bueckers has another bucket. 20 points for Paige Buckets. Iriafin can't get that to drop. Akuwafo the rebound, and Heckel able to serve it in the paint. USC getting a little more on the offensive end over these last few possessions, but have not been able to get the stops on Bueckers. Knocked out of bounds by Howell. It'll stay here with 4:49 to go in the third.
Paige Bueckers with 20 points, showing off her offensive versatility. Hitting the contested 3, and then how about a little pull-up midi?
One of the things we have witnessed at every Connecticut game that we've done this season is the following that Paige Bueckers has across the country. You see all the signs here in Spokane from fans of all ages getting creative with those newspapers, and Paige Bueckers once again locked in.
Well, you know who else has been following Paige Bueckers throughout the course of the game is Kennedy Smith, and been really good defensively on her. Physical with her, trying to prevent her from getting the basketball. Watch Paige. Sarah, you go ahead. You take over on this particular play. But then when Paige has been able to shed, Smith hears on a switch. She gets Rhea Marshall, Avery Howell on her, this time able to elevate and score. She's still found ways to be very impactful offensively.
We talked about as well, Rebecca, the way she's had success when Smith went to the bench with her 3rd foul. Strong waits and finishes Sarah Strong. A 20-point night for the freshman in this Elite 8 matchup.
Out of the timeout, Gino Auriemma runs a set to get a screen for Sarah Strong going towards the rim. Get her involved again offensively.
That is going to be a foul on Bueckers as Smith hits the deck.
Just see the cut for Sarah Strong. Beautifully done. Great catch. Head fake finish.
Sarah Strong joins Maya Moore as the only UConn freshman in the last 25 years with multiple 20-point, 10-rebound games in the NCAA tournament.
You heard Chene say it at the half, without question, the best freshman in the country.
Heckel can't finish, and it's out of bounds off of Connecticut. It will stay here with USC. Strong, 2nd team All-American this year as a freshman.
Those are 5-player teams, so top 10 player in the country.
Smith dumps it in. Iriafin. Off to Samuels. Smith hawked in the corner by Arnold. Smith, oh, what a Euro. Big time finish from Kennedy Smith.
Young woman is so talented. It's going to be so fun.
Bueckers, not that time. Brady the rebound.
To watch Smith the next 3 years.
Yes.
I'm never going to talk over a Paige Bueckers 3, Ryan Rico.
Bueckers, not that time, short again. Rebound whacked out of bounds. Last hits USC, and another chance here for Connecticut.
Kennedy Smith and the strength she has, she can hit from deep. Look at that, just swimming, stepping, finishing.
And we noticed it right away in her first game in Paris. Kennedy Smith also completely fearless, willing to meet any moment. Arnold digs in, can't bank it home, and finally the rebound secured by USC. Waffle gets it away to Heckel. Can the Trojans make a little noise here in the last 3:30 of the third?
I'll tell you what, Sarah Strong, what she's done on the defensive end, trying to keep the ball out of Kiki Iriafen's hands.
Heckel gets fouled there by Arnold and will go to the line.
She's just been really good on both ends, and it can go unnoticed on the defensive end when you're doing what she's been doing offensively, but she has been very strong there as well.
Were you trying to be like Elle and use a strong pun? My goodness.
No one can match Elle's puns.
You know what else no one can match when it comes to Elle Duncan? Now, she is a remarkably talented on-air personality. She's an even better after-party DJ at the Final Four. The many talents of Elle Duncan. Holly?
Well, guys, there are so many opportunities throughout the course of a game to make a strong pun. And so I actually asked Sarah Strong, how does she feel about it? And she's like, well, if it's good, I'm okay with it. So, like, strong finish to the rim. She likes those. Just don't overdo it, please.
Doesn't like a strong turnover. Here's Smith diving in. Couldn't finish. No whistle. Loose ball. Fudd has it. 13-point game. UConn led by as many as 19 earlier in the third. USC trying to stay attached here. Strong gets position, can't finish, and then a foul. If it's Smith, it would be her fourth. Iriafin was in the area as well. And it will be on Kiki, and that will be her second.
We talk about Sarah Strong and her footwork after she catches the basketball, but how about the work she does prior? Pushes up the lane, turns, steals, gets position again when she has the smaller Smith on her. It's the rare time we'll say smaller Smith because Kennedy Smith is a 6'1" guard.
Right. Here's Arnold. Lobbing it into Brady. Nice Brady trying to direct some traffic. Here's Fudd. Yet to score in this game. A player who's capable of dropping 30. Here's Fudd, backdoor, waits, and traveled. As AZ Fudd turns it over.
After the pump fake, she was wide open for a layup.
In, yes. And I think that's exactly what Gino Auriemma is reacting to. And you can see Chris Daly saying, stop it to Gino.
How many times do you think that's come out of her mouth over the course of the last 40 years?
Yeah, 4 decades worth for sure. Marshall hits the jumper, and USC making a little push here at the end of this third. They've shaved 8 points off the deficit, and Connecticut's going to need a timeout. The Trojans continue to fight on with 1:59 to go in the third. Well, South Carolina, Texas, UCLA have all punched their tickets to the Final Four. Will USC or Connecticut join them? Of course, when everybody looked at the brackets, one of the big reasons why they picked USC to go was Juju Watkins, who went down here in the second round with a torn ACL, helped off. Juju Watkins, just such a dynamic star, not just in the sport of women's basketball, but in the world of sports, period. And we were talking with Paige Bueckers as those two have dueled the last 2 meetings, Elite 8 last year and this year in December, talking with her about going through this injury and whether or not she had reached out to Juju, as Paige tore her ACL a couple years ago, and she said, when I saw it, I felt absolutely sick to my stomach. As Fudd can't hit the three, she said, but I know it's going to be a triumphant story. I've reached out to her and let her know I am here for anything you need as you go through this journey.
Yeah, when you look at the teams that were, say, left in the Sweet 16, there was no player more important to her team's success than Juju.
As Paige comes up with an outstanding rejection.
I mean, 6 feet tall, really good length, good instincts. Look at the closeout speed and able to not only block the shot, but do it with completely avoiding contact.
And just to put a ball on that, obviously everybody sees the incredible player that Juju Watkins is, but when you talk to her coaches, you talk to her teammates, they talk about the way the person Juju Watkins has completely transformed the entire program. Here's Finn battling inside. Strong whacks it out. Another chance for USC. Trying to make a push here. Von Olofsen can't hit the three, and Finn is fouled. Battling on the glass there. They're in the bonus, and Finn is going to go to the line.
Well, Ryan, it was not just USC and LA. It was all around the country. Women's basketball everywhere. Players, people caring about Juju, just sick about the injury and reaching out to make sure she knows she's loved and supported. The very next night, I worked at an NBA game, and I'm telling you, I had over 100 people from security guards, ushers, coaches, players ask me about Juju Watkins. Her impact and reach is insane right now, and she deserves every bit of it.
No question, Holly, and we all send our best wishes to Juju for a speedy recovery. Can't wait to see her back out on the floor. Meanwhile, Finn makes it a single-digit deficit. USC has shaved 10 points off that Connecticut lead. A 7-0 run over the last 2:51. Connecticut led by 19 with 7:26 to go in the quarter.
Now they like to pick up in this 1-2, 1-1 full court pressure. Rhea Marshall on the basketball after free throws. It was interesting to me after the last timeout for UConn. Gina Orlando set up a set for AZ Fudd to get a wide open look, and she was not able to hit it. He's trying to get her involved.
Here's Strong. Gets it across the timeline. Strong has 20 points in this game. So does Bueckers, both doing it efficiently. Strong, Strong, fends off Smith, no call, Fudd. Can't hit the three, she's now 0 for 8, and an over-the-back call on El Alfi, and that's gonna put USC right back at the line. And Paige Bueckers gathering her team. We talked with her earlier in the year, and she said her #1 focus this year was growing when it comes to being a vocal leader for her squad. She's done that all year. Here's Rhea Marshall, 71% on the season from the line. And Marshall hits the first.
Let's take another look at that Sarah Strong posting up here.
Ooh. I think it could have been called on her.
Yeah.
And Kennedy Smith looked up like, really? And Kennedy, we understand why.
Yes.
Marshall hits both free throws. It works out for USC. It is a 7-point game. USC on a 9-0 run. Fudd got another look. This time didn't take it. Bueckers off to Chen. They dump it in, knocked away, and it will stay here with Connecticut, 12 to shoot. UConn out of sorts here at the end of this third. Bueckers lobs it in. Here's Strong. The handoff. Bueckers may have to do it herself. Fudd, 3 to shoot. Fudd into the lane. The pull-up is off. Now 0 for 9. Here's Von Olofsen. With the shot clock turned off. A 9-0 USC run. AZ Fudd 0 for 13 on the season against USC. Von Olofsen barges in and flips it home. How about the finish to the third for USC? An 11-0 burst, and it's a 5-point game as we head to the fourth.
to Leah Von Oelhoffen, just using her strength, barging in, able to finish. USC fans loving what they're seeing. The players loving what they're seeing. Right back in this one.
Lindsay Gottlieb's team was down 19 with 7:26 to go in the third. Looked like Connecticut might run away and hide. But as Coach Gottlieb talked about, the heart of this USC team, just remarkable. And now we got a ball game here. Largest lead for USC, December 21st, was 18. UConn then tied it in the fourth. Can USC return the favor here? Now that game they did, USC eventually hold on to win. Iria Finn trying to go at Strong, leans in, can't finish. Rebound Strong. Sarah Strong has been terrific defensively on Kiki Iria Finn in this game. Meanwhile, Aubrey Griffin getting minutes here for Connecticut. Fudd a three is good, and AZ Fudd is finally on the board in the Elite Eight.
Again, out of a timeout, where does Gino Auriemma look? They run the elevator screen for AZ Fudd.
Von Oelhoffen can't finish. A tough rebound for Strong. Her 14th, and she's fouled.
Now for the Trojans to receive.
So they run for AZ Fudd. Let's freeze it right here. We're going to see her come up as the elevator doors close. That's how she gets open. Cross screen, elevator screen. Defender can't get through. That was a deep one. But that play was run for AZ Fudd.
Was 0 for 9, but is such an electrifying shooter. Can get hot at any moment. It's a big three to start the fourth for Connecticut. Entry pass gets poked out of bounds.
I mean, Kennedy Smith, though, she switched onto Sarah Strong, does a really good job bodying her, then three-quarter fronting her. It's a really hard pass to get over the top. So impressed with this young woman and her versatility on the defensive end.
Bueckers into Griffin. Griffin with a lot of space. Looking for some help. 5 to shoot. Strong putting it on the deck herself. Gets held up by Iria Finn. Fudd got it off. Can't hit it. And Marshall, the weak side rebound. Here comes Marshall for USC. 16 points in this game. To go with 8 rebounds. Fourth quarter action. Winner goes to the Final Four in Tampa. Great lob inside, and Marshall gets fouled. What a pass by Kennedy Smith.
We see a lot of teams run this when they're trying to get a direct entry right into the post. The box overload. You see the whole left side of the floor. There's your box. And then the fronting by Griffin, and Rhea Marshall's just got too much size. The pass thrown really well. Griffin has to foul.
Rhea Marshall back to the line where she's 4 for 4 in the game. It's the first,
When Lindsay Gottlieb got the USC coaching job, she was still an assistant in Cleveland. She said, I remember it like yesterday from my kitchen in Cleveland, calling my very first player. It was Rhea Marshall. She had signed with USC, but after the coaching transition, Lindsay was scared she'd leave. She's a kid from South Central LA. All she said is, Coach, I'm with you. And all she's done is step up and be huge for Lindsay Gottlieb ever since.
Absolutely, and terrific in this tournament in particular, Holly. 6-point game as Marshall, who's just a 71% free throw shooter, has gone 6 for 6 from the line here in the Elite Eight. Bueckers with 5 to shoot. Bueckers leaning and hitting. Paige Bueckers with 22 points. USC having trouble getting it in, and it's stolen. Here's Griffin kicking out. And Connecticut will reset.
You see Gino Auriemma on the sideline. The last couple of possessions, he has orchestrated. He wants the two-player game.
Bueckers, you bet!
And he wants the two-player game with Paige Bueckers and Sarah Strong.
25 points for Paige Bueckers, following up her 40-point performance. Here's Von Olhoffen. Hooking a pass inside and a foul called on Connecticut. Look out. Paige Bueckers is down. And so is Kennedy Smith. Third personal on Bueckers. See, when Bueckers falls, Smith hits the hardwood first, takes a smack from Bueckers.
Oh, they get smacked back.
Yeah, I think what caused Bueckers the pain was her face getting smushed by Strong. Oh no, you're right, Smith. So they both took shots in the face.
Kennedy Smith is standing there.
And Bueckers needs new contacts.
Look at Gino Auriemma right here, just orchestrating what he wants his players to do. You see him on the side, getting the right players on the same side of the floor. Aubrey, get out of there. I want Sarah Strong and Paige Bueckers eventually on this same side of the floor. Eventually they get there. He knew exactly the players he wanted involved in the set. And then Paige able to come in and score. The following possession, same thing. Paige Bueckers, Sarah Strong together in the two-man game.
Well, Paige Bueckers told us that pick and roll with Sarah Strong, it is such a safety net for them now as a team when they need a bucket. Strong the deflection and steal. Thought another three. Is good! A little smile across the face of Azzi Fudd, who's hit two straight. An 8-0 Connecticut run. Howell gets fouled by Fudd. And Gino Auriemma is beside himself as Howell is going to shoot 3 free throws. And Gino's going to come away with some hair in those hands.
Just a great little handoff from Paige Bueckers to Azzi Fudd. The smirk right there. It's got to be such a relief after you've struggled so much of the game to score, to hit a couple.
Well, one of the things Gino Auriemma told us before the South Carolina game, which has been the signature win for Connecticut and really the season-turning win for them, he said, today, I don't care how much Azzi Fudd misses. She needs to keep shooting. I don't want to see her shy away if she struggles early. In that game, she missed her first handful of shots, but kept shooting, got hot, and had a monster second half for Connecticut. In this game, has hit 2 big threes after starting the game 0 for 9 from the floor.
And some of them plays drawn up out of timeouts when she hadn't yet made one.
Bueckers, 2 more for Paige Bueckers. 27 for the Connecticut star. 13-point Connecticut lead. Howell gives it up. Iriafin can't knock it down.
Aubrey Griffin has been good in her minutes.
Paige is maybe hurting in her left arm, shaking it out here. Dumps it over to Strong. Bueckers receives, takes. Off on that one, Griffin tracks it down. Another chance for Connecticut here. Strong takes the handoff, gets it back, 3 to shoot. Bueckers' step back is off. Marshall collects it for USC. They dump it in, Iriafin able to corral it. Lindsey Gottlieb trying to direct traffic for her team. Still a lot of time left in this game. Marshall, deep catch. Marshall unable to finish. Strong and Iriafin battling, and it's going to be a hell ball. Possession arrow belongs to Connecticut. Paige Bueckers with that last bucket passes Nafisa Collier. She is now in 3rd place on UConn's all-time scoring list, trailing only Maya Moore and Brianna Stewart.
That's a graphic full of buckets right there.
And trophies are soon to be trophies.
Yes.
Bueckers. Bueckers has it knocked away. Fudd goes back door and lays it in. 8 points in the fourth for AZ Fudd, and the lead is back to 15. USC trailed by as many as 19 with 7.5 minutes to go in the third. They cut it to 5 at the end of the third. Marshall's tip won't go. Another doesn't either. Strong has her 16th rebound.
And how about that defense by Sarah Strong after taking the shot in the chest, still able to contest, corral the board.
Chen, who had a big first half. Off to Fudd, 6 to shoot. Fudd's jumper off. Marshall calls the rebound, her 12th of the game. Leah Samuels getting ready to check back in for USC. 3:40 to go in the fourth quarter of this Elite Eight matchup. Howell lets it fly, can't hit. Marshall underneath, couldn't flip it in. Another chance for Marshall, and she gets fouled by Strong. First personal on Strong as Marshall will go to the line.
UConn has outscored USC by 10 here in the fourth, and so much has been on the shoulder.
Looking forward to that. Connecticut a 15-point lead, 3:27 to go as we take a look at the Capital One rewarding performance.
I mean, Paige Bueckers is one of the things that makes her so special is her ability to get to any spot on the floor that she wants, and all of the spots are friendly to her. She also is willing to assist teammates, find them, get on the ground. How about this? The only assist of the game from the knees, and just delivering in every way so far during this tournament.
Had just 2 points in the first quarter, and it's been completely locked in since. See what she's done in this tournament. It's been incredible. And one of the things Gino Auriemma mentioned to us earlier, when you get to this time of year and you see over the last 2 games what Paige has done in the fourth, accounting for 34 of 38 UConn points, Gino Auriemma always says your program gets you to the Sweet 16, your stars get you to the Final Four. And he said, look what happened against Oklahoma, and that's what we're going to need tonight, our stars to take us there. Aubrey Griffin can't lay it in. But Gino Auriemma went to Aubrey Griffin in this fourth quarter after she didn't play last game, hadn't played this whole game, and she's made a difference out there on the floor for Connecticut as USC works its way back to the line.
One of the things he said coming into the NCAA tournament is she's the type of player, the type of athlete who can be disruptive offensively and defensively, and that in like 2-minute spurts she can really have a big impact on the game. Well, he's left her in for longer than 2 minutes, but certainly a player who is unique, one of the best athletes on this Connecticut team.
Rhea Marshall, a season high, 20 points tonight.
I'm so impressed with Rhea Marshall, Ryan. I mean, the role that she kind of had as one of the complementary pieces to Juju Watkins, then what she has done, you know, the last few games without Juju and taking on more of that leadership role and looking to be more aggressive on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, how about 21 and 14? Pressure here from USC. Strong gets it across with Chen. 3 minutes to go in the fourth.
UConn worked on this a lot this morning in their shoot-around, breaking the USC pressure.
Winner goes to the Final Four to face UCLA. Texas, South Carolina in the other matchup. Bueckers into the lane, and it's knocked away. Here comes Iriafin. Samuels on the move. Looked like she might have had a layup. Howell trying to find space, could not. Marshall ramming in and banking it home. Rhea Marshall now with 23, and it's a 10-point game. Still a lot of time left.
That move by Rhea Marshall, getting into Sarah Strong, bouncing off, and still finishing the tough banker.
Big possession here for Connecticut. Griffin back to Fudd, fakes the handoff. Chen coming around, 7 to shoot. Chen lays it in, plus the foul. A chance for 3 for Caitlin Chen.
The buckets that Caitlin Chen has had today and the timing of when she's gotten them here, just driving in. What a tough finish with the left-hand finish. Watch Coach Oriema in the background.
Gino with the enthusiastic reaction. We saw the Chen family doing the same. What's so interesting, Rebecca, is Gino Oriema was so specific with us at shoot-around, talking about how Chen is unafraid and he wants opportunities for her in the lane in this game. She has had them. She has cashed in on them. 12-point Connecticut lead. 1:50 to go. Heckel pedaling through traffic. Heckel spins it up and off. Iria Finn can't get that one to drop, but is fouled. And Iria Finn is going to go to the line. She's just 3 for 15 from the floor in this game, as Paige Bueckers picks up her 4th personal. Kiki Iriafin started this game 3 for 4. Is 0 for 11 since. What has Connecticut been able to do defensively on one of the best bigs in the country?
Mostly it's been how great Sarah Strong has been, both on the ball, off the ball. There's times when players have driven in and she's like hesitated over and then recovered back to hers. She's just been a really tough matchup for whoever she's been defending.
Iria Finn projected as the number 3 overall pick in this year's WNBA draft. Maybe could climb to number 2 with the news that Olivia Miles is entering the transfer portal. The Notre Dame star will forego the draft this season. Under 1:30 to go. 10-point UConn lead. Strong to Chen, to the cup.
I think Sarah Strong's the best passing big from the 4 spot in the country. I mean, she passes like an elite level guard. I mean, Sarah Strong just here, steps out, gets it, knows where Chen is going. I mean, perfectly delivered. Perfectly delivered. That's a 6'2" post player making this pass. Elite. She is simply elite.
20 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists for the freshman Strong. Chen with 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Paige Bueckers with 27 points, 6 assists. And Connecticut on the brink of joining UCLA, South Carolina, and Texas. A reminder, our Final Four will be Friday, 7 Eastern. Our championship coverage begins at 6 Eastern on Friday. And then the championship game will be Sunday on ABC. Coverage starting at 2 Eastern, tip at 3 Eastern on ABC Sunday. You know, Paige Bueckers has had one of the all-time great careers at UConn, but still chasing that championship. On the brink of heading to her 4th Final Four, got to the national title game in 2022, fell to South Carolina. In 2023, Connecticut lost to the Sweet 16. That year, Paige missed with a torn ACL.
All of those years until this season, UConn decimated by injury.
Howell connects on a 3. Single-digit deficit.
Yeah, really well executed play. The dribble penetration and then the flare screen on the perimeter.
53 seconds to go. Howell pressuring Bueckers. You can see Lindsey Gottlieb mouthing, take one, as USC had fouls to give.
Team third, 10, Malia Samuels, in for the Trojans.
And now Lindsey Gottlieb again mouthing to Malia Samuels, take one here. Now the interesting thing in college basketball is you can foul before the ball's inbounded as long as it happens with someone involved in the play. Strong gets it into Bueckers and immediately Samuels fouls her. That's different than in the pro game where they have an away from the play foul. And if you do that, it results in 1 free throw, which can be shot by anybody on the team, and the retention of possession. Strong bounces in, and Von Olhoffen fouls Chen. It was going to be in a tough spot there in the corner. So Chen will go to the line. She's an 83% free throw shooter.
third position. Team fifth. Kennedy Smith.
1 for 2 tonight.
USC. Caitlin Chen to the line. Shooting
48.7 seconds to go in this fourth. No matter what happens in this final minute here, Rebecca, Lindsay Gottlieb and USC have to be so proud of what they have been able to do in the Sweet 16 in this Elite Eight without one of the biggest stars in the world, Juju Watkins. It has been so impressive.
Well, without question, you heard Lindsay in her interview with Holly just talk about her team's heart. They've showed tremendous toughness, resilience as well.
30 seconds timeout.
Juju will be back. USC will be back. They have a lot of talented freshmen. Meanwhile, speaking of talented freshmen, how about Sarah Strong tonight and what she has done for Connecticut?
Sarah Strong has proven all season long that she is the best freshman in the country. And we saw it from the jump. She was completely unbothered, not only making passes to get teammates involved, but stepping in with so much confidence to every three that she took. This is a young woman coming off a game where she struggled to score a little bit efficiently in the Sweet 16, but she looked today like a player who has, you know, a senior who's been here multiple times, and that is certainly not the case, but she is a different kind of freshman.
First UConn freshman with a 20-point, 10-rebound game in the Elite Eight or later. And there have been a lot of talented ones over Gino Auriemma's 40 years. The band's face paint has evolved, but the talent of the freshman has not. And a turnover here on the inbound.
They're going to review it, though. Yeah, the finger was twirling.
Yes. 2 minutes and under.
The on-court ruling is Connecticut basketball. The play is on review.
My Forsberg, our crew chief. Let's see. Ooh, I think that's going to stay UConn ball.
Yeah.
Looks like it last hits Von Oelhoffen. You had Shade reaching in. Shade, who has not been as much of a factor in this game as she was in the Sweet 16. And that's something that Gino Auriemma has the luxury of this season that he didn't over the last few years. It's depth. And he's talked about how that health, which has resulted in depth, has given his team an air of confidence that they just haven't had at this time of year over the last few seasons.
We saw that graphic a little bit earlier about Paige Bueckers and what she's done in her career, and certainly this is her team's best opportunity because of that depth to get her that elusive national championship.
After review, the on-court ruling is confirmed. It'll be Connecticut basketball. The game clock is reset to 48.4.
So 48.4 seconds remaining in this fourth. Connecticut a 72-61 lead over USC. Paige Bueckers 101 points in the last 3 games, most by a UConn player in a 3-game span in program history.
That's incredible.
Any 3-game span too. That's not just NCAA tournament games. That's any 3-game span.
That's incredible.
An incredible
Maya Moore,
number, yeah.
Brandon Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird.
Rebecca Lobo.
I mean, come on now.
Rebecca, we talked about how tough USC has been winning that Sweet 16 game against Kansas State without Juju Watkins. Even the way they've navigated here tonight, multiple times facing big deficits, able to claw back. They cut it to 5 to begin the fourth after they trailed by 19 midway through the third. The Big Ten regular season champs, their first regular season conference title since 1994. This is a program that's not going anywhere anytime soon.
And a program that has some incredibly talented freshmen, and obviously Juju Watkins only a sophomore. Lindsay Gottlieb has to be so proud of what this team has accomplished when they were fully healthy, and then to a degree, even more so, what they have done coming together these last few games.
And to be clear, when I say not going anywhere anytime soon, I mean not going away. They are going to be playing in these kind of games and beyond for a long time.
Yes.
Bueckers is fouled by Marshall.
Trojan foul 13, Rhea Marshall. Second personal. Paige Bueckers to the line, shooting 2.
You know, and just to put a bow on that with USC, we certainly hope we see Juju Watkins at some point next season. But whenever we do, we know it will be a triumphant return.
I hope we see her when she is completely and fully healthy and back to being one of the most dominant scorers the women's college game has ever seen.
Timeout called by USC.
Paige Bueckers up to 29 points. Now, 1 point away from 30. Paige is the only player in program history to score 30 in 3 straight games. And that's not 3 straight tournament games, that's any 3 straight games. She did that her freshman year when she was the National Player of the Year. Taking a look at our Final Four bracket. We know South Carolina and Texas. Congratulations to Dawn Staley, Vic Schaefer. They will meet in the Final Four, 7 Eastern on ESPN Friday. Congratulations to Corey Close and UCLA. They will play the second game on Friday night, 9 Eastern. And at this point, obviously, it will almost certainly be against Connecticut with the 13-point lead here and 46 seconds to go. People have waited for the Paige Bueckers March takeover. They're getting it so far this spring.
She's been absolutely incredible. I mean, just what she did in the last game with the 40 and then here tonight with the 29. Is today the last day of March?
It is.
And now UConn fans are going to wait for the April takeover as well.
UConnic on the sign. 46 seconds remaining in the fourth. Von Olofsen looking in. Von Olofsen drives it baseline, dribbled it out of bounds. 35.5 to go in this fourth. A 13-point Connecticut lead. And Gino Auriemma will take a timeout. You take a look at the way Connecticut has put together this team, Rebecca, and the championship puzzle pieces. They have the winningest coach in Division I history in Gino Auriemma. They have a superstar in Paige Bueckers. They have AZ Fudd, who provides instant offense, as we saw in the fourth quarter. Sarah Strong, the likely National Freshman of the Year. And then this year, a lot of depth as well, and we've seen different games, different pieces step up off the bench for Connecticut.
And of course, a team to win a national championship has to have their stars, and UConn has had stars. But again, it's the depth, not piece, multiple pieces on that graphic. That is the biggest difference to this UConn team.
Think about what we saw from Ashlyn Shade in the Sweet 16, her contributions. Tonight, it's been Caitlin Chen. About a 5-second difference, game and shot clock. Bueckers, it gets stolen by Kennedy Smith. Howell will launch and hit from 3. That makes it a 10-point game as Bueckers is fouled, and now Paige Bueckers will have a chance at 30. And you can see Gino Auriemma saying you've got to come back to the basketball after that thrown away inbound pass.
Paige Bueckers from the line. 2 shots.
Bueckers 7 of 9 from the line tonight. And Paige Bueckers has another 30-point game, 3 straight tying her program record. Bueckers hits them both. 12-point Connecticut lead. It is all cosmetic at this point. 24 seconds remaining in the fourth. Howe leaning, can't hit, rebound strong, and Iriafin will foul strong with 9.6 to go in this fourth, and Gino Auriemma is about ready to celebrate. Bueckers with 31 points, 6 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. Strong with 20 points, 17 rebounds, a new career high, and 4 assists. Hazy Fudd missed her first 9 shots, but it's 2 big threes in the fourth after USC had closed to 5. Caitlin Chen, 15 points. And Connecticut on the brink. Von Olofsen dribbles it up the floor. 5 seconds remaining. And the Connecticut Huskies are headed to a record 24th Final Four.
UConn Huskies 78, USC Trojans 64. With tonight's victory, the UConn Huskies advance to the Final Four on April 4th in Tampa, Florida.
Lindsey Gottlieb spending some time with Paige Bueckers. A terrific season for USC ends tonight in Spokane as Paige Bueckers and Connecticut complete our Final Four. We'll hear from Paige with Holly Rowe in a moment, and we'll see you Friday night on ESPN from Tampa. For our producer, Kerry Callahan, our director, Jimmy Platt, Rebecca Lobo, and Holly Rowe, I'm Ryan Rucco. Sports Center with SVP begins now.
Well, Paige, Coach Auriemma always says this is the hardest game to win, but when you've been healthy 4 times, you've led your team to the Final Four. How does this team and you as their leader keep getting that done?
It's a team win, a team victory. The coaches do a really good job of preparing us for this moment, and we stepped up. We just have come together throughout everything, throughout the injuries, throughout the adversity, through everything. We've just come together and remained a team, remained connected, remained unaffected by everything that's going on, and we just stayed together, and that's how we got it done.
You had to stay together tonight. USC pulled within 5 going into the fourth quarter. Then you come up with some big shots. How did your team in that moment finish this?
Yeah, we knew they were a motivated team. We've been in that position where we've had players go down and you just step up for them and you play with the extra chip on your shoulder. So we knew they weren't going to go down without a fight. They're a great team. But we just weathered the runs, weathered the storm. We knew they weren't going to quit. So it was going to be a battle, and we just wanted to come out on top.
I know you hate talking about yourself, but 40 points in your last game, 30 points tonight. This is an epic run, Paige, that we do not see at this level. What do you appreciate about what you're finding within yourself right now?
My teammates. Sarah Strong, she played amazing tonight, 22 and 17. Everybody stepped. Caitlin Chen had an amazing night defensively. KK Ash, AZ stepped up in the fourth quarter. Jana Ice banging down in the paint. Aubrey coming in, changing the game. And everybody on the bench just providing energy for us. It's everybody. It takes a village, and it's everybody's doing.
I hear you. There's no you without them.
Exactly.
All right, Final Four. Let's go. See you there, Paige.
Woo! I'm glad that wasn't water.
Let's go.
UConn headed to the Final Four